Greetings, speed enthusiasts!
Today, we review the best qualifying runs in the 10-second car category of the 18th edition of the 2025 Barranquilla Quarter-Mile Carnival Cup.
We begin with a duel between Ronald Chavez in his Audi RS Q3 versus Juan Carlos Garcia in his Porsche 911 Turbo S.
Juan Carlos Garcia in his Porsche 911 sets an initial time of 10.734 seconds, placing him in the first position. Meanwhile, Ronald Chavez in his Audi RS Q3 records a time in the 11-second range.
Next up, Holmes Angulo in his BMW M240i xDrive faces off against Pedro Mogollon in his Audi RS3.
Pedro Mogollon in his Audi RS3 takes the second position with a time of 10.838 seconds, while Holmes Angulo in his BMW M240i clocks a time of 11.015 seconds.
Now presenting Julian Prado in his BMW M440i xDrive.
Time of 10.895 seconds, Julian Prado in his BMW M440i xDrive takes third place.
Next up is Fernando Martinez in his Audi RS3.
Fernando Martinez in his Audi RS3 records a time of 10.781 seconds, putting him in second place.
Now presenting John Jimenez in his Audi TT VR6 Turbo.
John Jimenez in his Audi TT takes first place with a time of 10.429 seconds.
Now presenting Javier Lopez in his Audi TT S.
Javier Lopez in his Audi TT S clocks a time of 10.962 seconds, placing him in sixth position.
Next up, a matchup between Pedro Mogollon's Audi RS3 and Duvin Cedino's BMW M340i xDrive.
Galán in his Audi RS3 improves on his previous time with a run of 10.541 seconds, moving up to second place, followed by Duvan Cedino in his BMW M340i xDrive with a time of 10.564 seconds.
Next, we have Ronald Chavez in his Audi RS Q3 versus Valentina Zuluaga in her Audi SQ5.
Ronald Chavez in his Audi RS Q3 improves on his previous run with a time of 10.939 seconds, placing him in 7th in the 10-second category. Meanwhile, Valentina Zuluaga in her Audi SQ5 records a time in the 11-second range.
Now presenting Andres Calderon in his Audi S3.
Andres Calderon in his Audi S3 clocks a time of 10.990 seconds, placing him in 9th position.
Now presenting Nicolas Montilla in his Ford Mustang.
If you're enjoying the video, please support us with a like.
Nicolas Montilla in his Ford Mustang clocks a time of 10.924 seconds, placing him in 7th position.
Next up, Hernan Giraldo in his Volkswagen Golf GTI faces off against Jason Espitia in his Audi RS3.
Hernan Giraldo in his Volkswagen Golf GTI sets a time of 10.964 seconds, earning him the 10th position. Meanwhile, Jason Espitia in his Audi RS3 records a time in the 11-second range.
Next, Ronald Chavez takes the track in his Audi RS3.
Ronald Chavez in his Audi RS3 clocks a time of 10.844 seconds, placing him in 6th position.
Up next, Andres Calderon makes another run in his Audi S3.
Andres Calderon in his Audi S3 improves on his previous time with a run of 10.869 seconds, jumping from 12th to 7th place.
Now facing off are Omar Gonzalez in his Audi RS3 and Valentina Zuluaga in her Audi SQ5.
Omar Gonzalez in his Audi RS3 sets a time of 10.255 seconds, becoming the new leader of the leaderboard. Meanwhile, Valentina Zuluaga in her Audi SQ5 improves her previous run with a time of 10.927 seconds.
Next up, Juan Carlos Garcia in his Porsche 911 Turbo S faces off against Pedro Mogollon in his Audi RS3.
The win goes to Pedro Mogollon in his Audi RS3. However, neither driver manages to improve on their previous times.
Now Duvin Cedino in his BMW M340i xDrive makes another run.
Duvin Cedino in his BMW M340i xDrive improves on his previous record with a time of 10.297 seconds, moving from 4th to 2nd place, just 42 thousandths off the lead.
Now presenting Julian Prado in his BMW M440i xDrive for another run. Julian Prado in his BMW M440i improves on his previous time with a run of 10.796 seconds, moving from 9th to 7th place.
Now presenting Holmes Angulo in his BMW M240i xDrive.
Holmes Angulo in his BMW M240i xDrive improves on his previous time with a run of 10.732 seconds, entering 5th place in the 10-second category.
Next up, Fernando Martinez makes another run in his Audi RS3.
Fernando Martinez in his Audi RS3 improves on his previous time with a run of 10.682 seconds, moving from 7th to 5th place.
Now John Jimenez in his Audi TT VR6 makes another run.
John Jimenez in his Audi TT improves his previous time by 11 thousandths of a second. However, it's not enough to climb in the rankings.
Next up, Ronald Chavez makes another run in his Audi RS3.
Ronald Chavez in his Audi RS3 improves on his previous time with a run of 10.819 seconds. However, he remains in 9th place.
Next, Javier Lopez makes another run in his Audi TT S.
Javier Lopez in his Audi TT S improves on his previous time with a run of 10.830 seconds, moving from 14th to 10th place.
Next, Jason Esvidia makes another run in his Audi RS3.
Jason Esvidia in his Audi RS3 improves on his previous time with a run of 10.941 seconds, placing him 15th in the standings.
Next up, Juan Carlos Garcia makes another run in his Porsche 911 Turbo S.
Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos.
Juan Carlos Garcia in his Porsche 911 Turbo S improves on his previous time with a run of 10.655 seconds, moving from 7th to 5th place.
Next, Pedro Mogollon makes another run in his Audi RS3.
Pedro Mogollon in his Audi RS3 improves on his previous time with a run of 10.480 seconds. However, he remains in 4th place.
Now Nicolas Montilla in his Ford Mustang makes another run.
Nicholas Montia in his Ford Mustang improves on his previous time with a run of 10.894 seconds. However, he holds on to 12th place.
Finally, closing out the qualifying sessions, Ronald Chavez in his Audi RS Q3 faces off against Omar Gonzalez in his Audi RS3.
Ronald Chavez in his Audi RS Q3 withdraws from the duel, while Omar Gonzalez in his Audi RS3 improves on his previous time with a run of 10.089 seconds, solidifying his lead in the standings, bringing the qualifying round to a close. However, from the final of the 11-second category, Ronald Chavez's McLaren MP4 moves into this category.
With an ETD of 10.872 seconds, Ronald Chavez's McLaren MP4 is disqualified from the 11-second final and placed at the bottom of the 10-second category standings, which ends with a total of 17 qualified vehicles that will compete against each other in pursuit of the Champions Trophy. But that, we'll see in an upcoming video. Subscribe so you don't miss it.